very blessed to have among us most revered Pravrajika DivyanandaPrana Mataji from Ramakrishna Sharada Mission, India, who would be conducting this retreat for us today. Just to give you the overview of the program once more, that we would have 2 sessions with Mataji. The first session would be where Mataji will speak for about an hour, and after that there will be a provision of question and answer, and then we will take a little break for about 30 minutes. After the tea break from 5:30, we will have the second session, and we will conclude it again with the Q&A. And then at the end of the program, all of you are very cordially invited to join for supper before the dispersal. Now, I would like to I would like to ask revered Shantibrotanandaji Maharaj, who is the minister in charge of this ashram, to introduce revered Mataji and give us a welcome address.
Thank you. So it is a spiritual type of treat here. So we have all assembled to have the spiritual treat. So many times we know what to do and we also know what not to do. But again, either we forget or sometimes there are chances which is required. I mean, there is a necessity of remembering time and again. Sometimes we are capable enough to getting remembered ourselves, or sometimes we need an external aid or external person who can remind us what to do and what not to do. And probably these are the retreats or occasions which we can remember, and we can probably refresh our memories, which we have heard from different scriptures, from different personalities, what to do and what not to do, and how can I be happy. So many times when I go for different classes or different talks, people ask, when I get realization or when I get freedom, what happens to the self? So I keep telling that self never gets liberated. Self is never in bondage. Then why should I struggle? We have to do sadhana, we have to do japa, meditation, so many things we are all telling, you are all telling us. Scriptures are telling it is for whom or for what. I keep saying this. So japa, meditation, or any spiritual practices, everything is for only one instrument, that is for mind. In the Upanishads, it tells very clearly, bandhana and moksha, that is the bondage and the liberation. It is both for the mind, not for the self. Self was free, self is free, self will be free, and I am that self. But the mind is the instrument which is good and bad or whatever. It depends on how we handle, what contained in that mind. So if we can manage the mind, we can be happy. Many times we think XYZ is the root cause for our problem, or ABC is the root cause for my happiness or a misery. We keep on thinking, we keep on complaining and etc. But Shastra, scriptures tells very clearly, it is your own mind, not anyone else. So probably this mind management retreat will be one of the occasions where we can understand mind is the root cause for our sufferings, and mind is the root cause for our bondage, and mind is also the source of liberation. So for this, we have got a very reputed speaker, Pravrajika DivyanandaPrana. So some of you might know already, and we have got a sister organization for exclusively for nuns. This was the idea, vision of Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda had written a beautiful letter to Swami Shivananji, one of his brother disciple, and the second president of the Ramakrishna order. He writes beautifully his views and ideas there. I want an organization which is exclusively for women, where they will be able to manage themselves, and from where we'll get Gargis Maitris and all the Upanishad Gargis Maitris will come. So that was his vision and that was his idea. As a result, 1953, at the centenary of Holy Mother's centenary celebration, Sharda Mat was started. So just we have got Ramakrishna Mat and Ramakrishna Mission for the monks. We have got a similar sister organization for the nuns. It is a nunnery managed by themselves. It is a Sharada Mat and Ramakrishna Sharada Mission, which has got a headquarters in the Dakshineshwar in Calcutta. So they have got quite a few centers, and the same philosophy they also done. And Pravrajika DivyanandaPrana is the monastic member of the Sharda Math. So on behalf of Ramakrishna Vedanta Center and assembled devotees, I welcome her for this August gathering. And I request Gangotri to welcome her by presenting a bouquet. She is the editor of the English journal Samvit, and she also has authored several books, among which is very famous is Science of Happiness and Self-Discovery. She was also the principal of Nivedita Vidya Mandir School from 2014 to 2019 in India and across the globe, South Africa, Ireland, Great Britain, United Arab Emirates, Canada, United States. So in different countries, she has been invited often for the speeches. She is often sought speaker. And this time, our Professor Siddharth Sen, who is sponsoring our annual Trinity lecture, he, on our behalf of our Vedanta Center, he was kind enough to sponsor this. And also he invited her so that we are having the lecture on the 11th of September in the Trinity College on Swami Vivekananda's contribution to Nivedita. So as a part of this, today we are also having this lecture. Otu Mataji.
Om Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amtam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. My namaskars to revered Maharaj. Namaskars to all devotees gathered here. It's wonderful to be with all of you and in this very beautiful place. It's so nice to see the center flourishing here. And this is my second visit to Dublin, actually, and really happy to be here with each one of you. Also, in such an organized, structured way, the programs are going on. It's so delightful for us to see this. And the topic chosen also is, well, is the most important topic, I would say, mind management. And you see the essence of it, Mara just now spoke about it. We as the self are not in need of any management. The self is ever liberate. The self is existence, consciousness, and bliss itself. But the mind, which we think we are, that requires a lot of management. As you all know, no questions about this, that the mind really requires a lot of training and management. Otherwise, it will continue to do its own thing and we will be under the mind. And the mind, you know how it can function, totally in an uncontrolled, untrained way. And, the mind is, as Milton said this, it can create a heaven out of hell and a hell out of heaven in any situation. You don't have to, actually, the external space and the external persons around us, it's just tertiary importance. What our mind makes of it, how our mind interprets it, how it reacts, responds, that is the primary thing about human life. So when it comes to mind management, everybody will agree that this is the most important topic. In fact, although we teach Vedanta in university, even at university level, the most important fallout of self-knowledge, Vedanta, is mind management. So people and students especially are always asking for techniques for mind management. And how do we handle this instrument, which we are so closely identified with, but which appears to have a will of its own. It's not under us. So you see, this primordial doubt was there even in Arjun. You may remember in the Bhagavad Gita, this dialogue is there, that the mind is so uncontrolled. Vayu reverso dushkaram, like the air. It's simply not under me. So how do I control it and what do I make out of it? And you see, if mind is not under our hands, if we are not thinking the thoughts we require to think, and if it's doing its own thing, and constantly in negativity and bringing out all kinds of memories, then life can become very miserable, isn't it? That's the main problem in this modern age. See, we are a tremendously empowered generation with so much of technology around us, doing everything for us. Now AI is also taking over, but in this world. So we will be discussing all of this, and I've prepared a few slides. So in both the sessions, I'll be showing you slides, and we will be integrating a lot of, what are called mind sciences today, cognitive sciences, neurosciences. We'll be bringing in all that information and trying to understand how to do mind management, and how come it's not such a huge problem for the yogi. He's very happy with his mind. Have you studied the yogic mind? See, the main problem with modern psychology is we are studying the sick mind usually. We are studying the mind which is, paralyzed or wrongly conditioned or depressed. You must study the healthy mind. That should also be part of psychology, isn't it? See, this is what I teach in universities. I'm teaching a kind of positive psychology. If you go to the IIT Delhi website, it's called NRCV IIT Delhi. It's a body at IIT Delhi. You will find a lot of courses on this. Mainly it's to do with mind management. So you go to the YouTube channel of NRCV IIT Delhi, or just subscribe to the Vivek Vani channel. Vivek Vani is putting up all those videos. And you'll find a whole lot of information on self-knowledge, mind management, spiritual intelligence, how to build emotional intelligence, all of these kind of self-help videos, just like how we used to have self-help books. Today we have self-help videos mainly for youngsters, just to help us manage our own instrument first. And this is, I'm telling you, is the most important fallout of self-knowledge, Vedanta today. What exactly it gives us is, it gives us techniques for mind management and techniques to build emotional intelligence, because our emotional life is a huge part of our mental mechanism, as you know. And then it teaches us how to build step-by-step spiritual intelligence, how to manage our memories, how to cleanse our memories, how to build focus, and how to build resilience in any situation, how to manage people, how to, you see, when you manage mind, you manage your time, you manage the people around you, you even do ambiguity management. In the workplace, all this is important, isn't it? And then how to manage stress, how to manage everything in your life. It all comes together when we are able to manage mind, because mind is what is the most important instrument to cognize life, cognize things, to get knowledge. And it is the most important instrument for experience. Life's experience is based on the mind. So we really got to study everything that, the scriptures, whatever is available about mind. The beauty of the whole thing is, mind management is perfectly possible because you are not your mind. See, this is something we really have to, please see this. I can watch my thought process. Can you not watch your thought process? See, just now, you're hearing what I'm saying and thinking about it, and you can watch yourself thinking about it. You can watch your thoughts, which means obviously there is a dimension in us which is quite apart from the thought plane, you can say. The current of thoughts, you can be a perfect witness to that current. You can be a perfect witness to what you are thinking, which means what? It means that fundamentally I am quite apart from this mental mechanism. That is why we can control it. That is why we can manage it. So how do we realize this? See, when something is true, you don't require a method to realize it. You just have to see it for what it is. When I'm thinking, I can perfectly stand aside and watch my thought process, where it's going, what is adding on to it, how the emotions are flowing. You can watch this. Now, who's that you which is watching? Who's the watcher of the mind? Who's the witness? Think and see. It's in your own experience, so you should be able to give the answer. Who watches the mind? What is it that watches the mind? You'll see it's your awareness. Somewhere, deep awareness is, witnessing the entire thought process. It is watching the memories. It is watching the emotions which are, bubbling up. It is watching the entire thought current, the way it is going. And it is also watching the conclusion you draw out of that thought. So you see, you are more aware than identified with mind. That's why I told you the glory of the human experience is I have a mind, okay, and it can be working in different ways, but I am the witness of that thought process. I'm the witness of the mind. So when I'm able to put this distance between me and the mind, then starts mind management. Then I'm able to control it. I'm able to manage it. I'm able to take it into my hands. But if I'm not able to put this distance, suppose I'm not able to see my thought process at all. I'm so totally identified with it that suppose there's a thought of anger. At once I burst out. At once I explode. Then it is very difficult to manage mind. But if I'm able to put a distance between me and my thought, then I can manage it. Then I can see it for what it is. Immediately I am at a vantage point of, complete control. Immediately I am able to handle that thought process. So actually, if you peek into your own minds and see, you are capable of this. Each one of us is capable of this. Our thoughts belong to us. They are not us. This is the most fundamental thing we should understand about mind management. Our thoughts, my thoughts belong to me, but they are not me. They are mine. They are not me. I am the awareness that becomes aware of the thoughts, right? Just check it out right now and see. I become aware of my thought process. See, I am able to know what I was thinking a minute back. I am able to know what I was thinking yesterday. And I am able to know what my mind is doing just now, which itself means I am quite apart from the thought process. So this is the first step to mind management, to acknowledge this fact. I am not mind. I am that which is the witness of the thought process. But then from time to time, I get so strongly identified with the thought process that I react immediately. That is my own doing. Yes. You see, that is why, in Vedanta, we say that joy and happiness and awareness, that's our real nature. But mind and all kinds of thought processes and positivity and negativity and all this, that's our making. We made it up. When you make it up in your mind and identify with it, then you get all these states, different states of mind. But fundamentally, are you mind? Check this out and see, you're not mind at all. Nor is there a continuity to your thought process. See, this is the second important point we have to digest. The first point is, I'm quite apart from the mind. I have a mind, but I'm not mind. I'm quite apart from it, and so I can handle it. The second important thing is this, you see, the positivity or negativity or whatever content of my mind, actually speaking, it has no continuity. There's no continuum to it. Today it is one way, tomorrow it will change. Mind is in a state of flux always. If I change my thoughts, well, my mind, the very nature of my mind changes. And I can change my thoughts. See, this is the glory of positive thinking. If you practice positive thinking, after some time, the nature of your mind changes. And if I constantly brood on negative things and keep drawing out all kinds of negative experiences from the silo of my memories and replaying them in the conscious mind, then I become a mass of negativity. Mind is a state of flux. Mind has no continuum as such. As per the thoughts, my mind changes. Right? So then is there a continuity about our being, our personality, or no? Because then mind is all in flux. It's in a state of change. So then Vedanta will tell us the continuity is there, but it is not in the mind. It is the self. It is the awareness that you are, that is ever a continuum. You are the continuum which watches the changes in your mind. You are the continuum which watches how the mind works. And so you are the continuum which can affect the change in the mind. See, these are important, valid points from Vedanta which we have to digest. There is a continuum to us, but that is awareness. That is not mind activity. Mind, you can make it any way you want to be. Anything it can become. So this is the third important thing, right? There is a continuum to my being, but that lies in the self, in awareness, not in mind. The fourth important thing is I can decide the content of my thoughts. Yes, that's the fourth most important point. What do our thoughts depend on? They depend on what I fed my mind all through the day. See, suppose you saw a movie today. For the next 1 week, you were brooding on the different scenes of the movie. You're constantly replaying them in your mind. So what decides the thoughts in our mind? Our sense impressions, what we take in through the senses. And our memories, what we store. Any emotional experience happening, we store it in our subconscious. And then we replay it. So that those are our memories. So you see, you decide the content of your mind. Isn't it amazing? We never knew this. We thought, well, somebody decides or something outside decides. No. I decide what kind of thoughts I will have. Yes, I am at the helm of change. That is why. And the content of my mind depends on my sense intake and my memories. See, fourth important point about mind. So then, if I want to regulate my mind activity, if I have to control my mind, I should control these two things, the sense intake and refine my memories. Fifth important point. Mind management essentially means guarding our senses and refining our memories. This is the knowledge which Lord Krishna gave Arjun on the eve of the great battle of Kurukshetra. Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihete. There is a way to control your mind by rewiring your thought mechanism, making sure there's only positive content there, and vairagya, by certain amount of detachment from the merely flimsy, silly ways of thinking, silly ways of thought, from small habits, from these shadripus, the enemies of man, kama, krodha, mada, lobha, moha, matsari. In English, we say lust, anger, greed, ego, pride, jealousy, protecting us from all these negativities. If we can keep the mind free of all this, and filled with positivity, automatically your vitality will increase, because mind is the highest expression of your vital energies. Yes, think positive and you see your energies increase greatly. You will become a very high energetic person just because you have learned to think positively. There is a video called Miracle of Positive Thinking. Homework for you is you must watch this video. It's on Vivek Vani channel. You can subscribe to Vivek Vani, and there's this video, Miracle of Positive Thinking. The beauty of your thought mechanism is what you think will become reality for you. Okay, see, this is the magic of human life. What you will think will become your reality. So this is the sixth important point in mind management. What you think becomes your reality. There is nothing called reality and virtual reality. Everything is only virtual, according to Vedanta. Yes, you make it up. What you think, you will live in that bubble. And what your consciousness is focused upon, that becomes your sense of reality. So where is my mind going? That is the most important thing you should ask. So in the Miracle of Positive Thinking, I have outlined 3 principles. The first is, what I repeatedly think, I will become. Is this true? Yes. What I repeatedly think, if it's about myself, you will become like that. If it's about some other person, that person will perfectly appear to be like that. So what I think, I become. What I feel repeatedly, I will experience in my life. It may not be there, but you will experience it because you gave it so much emotion. So what you repeatedly feel, you will experience. And what you repeatedly imagine, you will create. Right? Am I right? You know, every single object in this room was somebody's imagination at one point of time, which became so strong, the need was so much that it was created. It became a physical object. Everything starts with mind. Everything starts with mind. So what you repeatedly think, you will become. What you repeatedly feel, you will experience. And what you repeatedly imagine, you will create. This is the power of your mind. Everything has been achieved only by the power of the mind. If we only learn to think positively, if we only learn to think correctly, you can achieve anything in life. And if the thought mechanism is not in my hands, it's in the hands of somebody else, or the internet, or the social media channels today, your Facebook. All this is hijacking all your mental energies. Then yes, it will depend on many factors, my success in life. But if this mind is in my hands and I have learned the art of positive thinking, anything in life can be achieved. It's only a matter of time. So let us understand the principles of positive thinking. This is the sixth most important point in mind management. The way you think is going to create your experiences of life. See, I'm not resorting to any kind of a esoteric science, like there's a law of attraction and all that. You can attract anything into your life. I'm just going into the fundamentals of mind management. My thought mechanism has the capacity to create my reality of life in life. Whatever I give thought to, I am giving it energy. So now energy means now manifestation will happen. Whatever I think, it in some way it is going to impact my life. Yes. So then this thought mechanism, really we have to pay attention to it and correct it when it is required. For that, the most fundamental thing, as I told you, is I must become capable of seeing my thoughts objectively. I become aware of the thought and not vice versa. Yes, I become aware of my thoughts. My thoughts cannot rule over me because it is I who become aware of them. This is everyone's experience. Yes. Only thing is we have given the entire power to the mind. This is our problem. Vedanta brings you back into the self. Just through observation. Just look at this and see. I become aware of my thoughts, but my thoughts don't become aware of me. What does this mean? Which means obviously I'm not my thoughts. And my thoughts are happening to me, in me, but I am not the thought process at all. Once this knowledge comes, this perception comes, it's a huge step in mind management. In fact, the more deeply conscious we are, the better you can handle your thought process. Seventh important point. The more deeply conscious you are, the better you can handle the thought process. Better you can handle mind. If I'm poorly conscious, there's something like that. Because so distracted or so de-energized, no energy at all, or so absolutely in tamas, I can't even think properly, then my thought mechanism is not going to come into my hands. When I am deeply conscious, I can handle my thought process perfectly. And this is the key to mind management. This is the key to mind management. So Vedant's standpoint is this, you are consciousness itself. The deeply conscious mind is the most wonderful instrument to achieve anything in life. And the deeply conscious being is perfectly able to handle mind. To understand this much, then you will see mind actually, we are giving now I'm going to show you slides on mind. For the next 3 hours, we are going to discuss mind. But finally, you will understand there's nothing called mind. We are discussing about nothing. Because if there was a reality to something called mind, we could have discussed it. Actually speaking, there is no receptacle to your thought process. Mind is a phantom. The one who sees this is the self, and that is real. Mind has no continuity, as you saw. So there's no mind. It's a untrained thought process that keeps flirting in the mind. in the so-called mind. Yes, but there's no reality to it. But your awareness is perpetually real. Your awareness is ever-present truth about yourself. You are fundamentally self-aware. In that awareness, thoughts are rising and falling. So when we understand this, you will see mind, Prakriti, the Prakriti of Sankhya. Vedanta's standpoint is Prakriti is dependent on the Purusha, but not one with it. Mind depends on awareness to become mind, to function as mind. But there's no intrinsic reality to the thought process at all. Depending on the intake through the senses, depending on the rewinding of the memory, thoughts are just playing on the surface of your consciousness, and you're calling that mind. Yes, you know the definition of mind in both Yoga and Vedanta. Mind is equal to thoughts playing on an ocean of consciousness. Thoughts are like the bubbles, like the foam which arises on an ocean. The ocean is awareness. The thoughts are nothing but that foam, the bubbles that arise on that ocean of awareness. And you think the bubbles alone are real? This is our problem. So mind, I can draw an equation out of this. You see, mind M is equal to T plus C, thoughts plus consciousness. So then consciousness is equal to M minus T. Mind minus thoughts will give the experience of pure awareness, pure consciousness. This is yoga. This is yoga. You are capable of going straight into your unchanging nature as pure consciousness just by stopping this silly thought process. Shall I repeat the equation? The equation is M is equal to T plus C. There's no board, otherwise I would have written an equation. M is equal to T plus C. Mind is equal to thoughts plus consciousness. So consciousness is equal to mind minus thoughts. This is called yoga. Yogastu chitta vritti nirodh. The second sutra of Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. Yoga is emptying the mind of thoughts. Chitta vritti nirodh. This incessant modification of the mind to stop that. Why? Tada drashtu swarupe avasthanam. The third sutra says, so that the witnessing consciousness is invoked. It comes to the forefront. Otherwise, you will get carried away by the thought process. That's the fourth sutra, which says, vritti sarupyam itaratra. If I don't do this, if I don't bring the witnessing consciousness to the forefront, I will be carried away by my silly thought process. Yes. So that is why the need to still the mind. If we don't still the mind, we are killing the life itself. Learning how to still the mind, learning how to stop thoughts, at least pause them temporarily. Learning all these techniques becomes important. Then I will understand the nature of the mind. There is nothing called a receptacle to your thought process, which you are calling mind. Thoughts come and thoughts go based on my sense intake and my memories. If I stop these two, there are no thoughts. Please check and see. Yes. If you close your senses and stop the gateway of your memory, there are no thoughts. So mind is not a permanent entity, like a receptacle to your thought process. It's just something coming and going, popping up and popping out of your consciousness. And there's a way of handling it. So when we understand enough about mind, you will be able to handle it very well. That is why you see the importance of yoga and Vedanta lies here. I can handle this instrument, I can understand everything about it, and then I will be able to manage it perfectly well. Otherwise, somebody will be managing me. Yes, somebody is managing my life. That's a very poor state, isn't it? When you're driving a car, you should be on the driver's seat. If somebody is driving the car, you never know what will happen. Yes, my life, I should be driving, right? So then my mind should be in my hands. So we will study a lot of concepts from Patanjali Yoga Sutras and Vedanta on mind management. That is why I'm giving you all this knowledge in this next 2 hours. We have to complete this entire portion because never again should we have doubts about mind or awareness or techniques of mind management. See, all this is primarily given to youngsters in India. I'm working with a whole lot of IITs. They are constantly asking for courses. So far, we have done about 8 to 10 courses totally in so many IITs, mainly IIT Delhi, one in Mumbai, one in Madras, one in Mandi. All these, why they are so interested is because how to handle the thought process, how to build focus and attention and memory and concentration. This is the most important thing for a student because this leads to success. So then all this, see, it's straight from this, it's old wine in a new bottle. That's what we are doing. We are drawing the old knowledge of the scriptures and giving it in a modern idiom, in a totally modern format, so that they are able to find techniques for mind management. In today's modern lifestyle, when we have so little time and so many things to do and so many responsibilities on us, if I can handle this instrument well, I can achieve about anything in my life. So drawing this entire thing from the scriptures and giving it to them in a way which is digestible to them, which they can apply in their everyday lives. This is the whole point. If you go to those that Vivek Vani IIT Delhi videos, you will find so many talks on mind management. For the simple reason, everywhere that I go, this is the most important thing they are asking for. Self-knowledge is fine, but I have to deal with this mind. So then there are techniques for mind management. So now let me go into a few slides, which will give you a very good idea about how mind has been studied. Please put on the first slide. Okay. So you see, the most important manual for mind management is the Patanjali Yoga Sutras. Have you heard the book? Yes. Huh? Patanjali Yoga Sutras is from 2nd century BC. Okay. It's a very, very old text, Patanjali Yoga Sutras. But it has the most compact and intense ideas on mind and how to control mind management. And this is how, you see, mind has been studied there. This is the functional classification of mind. Make it full screen, please. This one, you put this. Yes. You see, mind is called chittam in Sanskrit. Please see, it is not chit. Chit is consciousness. Chittam is mind. And it has all these different aspects to it, functional aspects. I don't know why that F has become a dash there. Anyway, for whatever reason, it has its own mind. See, now mind, chittam, has first of all this manas aspect. Manas means sankalpa vikalpadmika antakarana vritti, which means a cogitative aspect of your mind, thinking the pros and cons of things. The normal state of mind is manas. Please see, the cogitative aspect of the mind. Then you have the buddhi, the determinative aspect of the mind. Anusandhanatmika antakarana vritti. No, this is nishchayatmika antakarana vritti. And manas, and there's one more, what is called chittam. This is anusandhanatmika, which means your memory bank. And ahankar is what you know, the ahamatmika antakarana vritti, ego. So all these are aspects of the same mind. It takes all this roop, एक ही मन के इतने सारे रूप हैं, मनस, बुद्धि, चित्त, अहंकार. Chittam is very important because it's your memory bank. You know how your thoughts are. See, when you're thinking something, you feel, oh, it's just a thought. Not so simple. If the thought has an emotional element and if it concerns your I, your ahankar, it will go now and sit in your subconscious as a sanskar. It's not like, you see, on our mobile or on our laptop, something pops up, you want to delete it. With one switch, you can delete. Not in mind, okay? What you repeat there, whatever has an emotional component, it will go into your subconscious and become a sanskar. After some time, it will pop up again as memories. So you cannot delete easily thoughts from your mind. That is why many things we have to know about mind. See, it doesn't exist, but it plays all this. This is the Maya of Prakriti. It's not there, but it takes you for a ride, isn't it? All of us are under our minds. I think it was Sir Arthur Eddington who said this, that for me, mind is the most obvious thing in the human experience. Everything else is remote inference. This is the perception of most people. We think we are body and mind. And not just that we have a mind, we think we are the mind. This is only Maya. Vedanta, technical definition of Maya, you don't have to go. Just see in our own life how Maya is playing. Any emotion rising in the mind, I think, oh, it's me. It's my not even my emotion, it's me. Anger came, it's me. Love came, it's me. It's my identity, my being. This is how we are used to thinking, See, all these wrong thought processes, these are responsible for our bondage. That is why mana eva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayo, which means mind alone is the cause for both bondage and liberation. If I know how my thought mechanism is fooling me, I can get liberated. But if I'm under it, then it's a long way to go. So this is the functional classification of the mind given by Patanjali. But we have also a structural classification which is given by Freud, which is very important for our study of mind management. Please go to the next slide. You see, this is the structural classification of the mind. So Western psychology has contributed this tremendous idea. You see, you have a conscious mind and you have a huge subconscious mind. The conscious mind is just the tip of the iceberg. So all these goody thoughts, the good things happening in our mind just now is only the tip of the iceberg. Down below, there's this huge thing. We don't even know what is there. And this ocean is the unconscious. All this becomes mind. So we are usually conscious of only this much. This much we are only partially conscious of, and most of the things lie in the unconscious. We are not even conscious of them. That is why, thoughts are unstoppable for most people. Because even though you are not taking in sense impressions or your memories also, you don't know what is there in the memory, still thoughts will go on and on and on and on. Unless you are in a state of yoga. Unless we are in samadhi, which you know how often we are in samadhi. We hardly get samadhi. So thoughts go on and on and on. So we don't know how to stop this mechanism at all. Chittavritti Nirodha is not so easy. So you see, structural classification of mind tells you are the awareness portion of your mind is only here. It's just the tip of the iceberg. Most of your mind is hidden from you. And thoughts keep bubbling up from here. Yes, from here into the conscious mind. And then you start thinking, Arey, why am I thinking like this? How can I think like this? But yes, you are thinking like this because so many things are stored here. We don't know that. So the roots of the mind are very deep. They go deep into the subconscious and unconscious levels. I may not even know those contents. I know only this content, this much. It's a strip on the surface of your mind. Then please go to the next slide. So you see, functional components of antakaran. Mind is called antakaran in Sanskrit. How we function is like this. This is the Vedantic understanding. The light of pure consciousness which you are, the self, the Atman, that streams through this component called mind, which has ahankar, the eye maker, manas, the sense employer, the buddhi, the instrument of manas, or you can say the determinative faculty, and chittam, the memory bank. The light of pure consciousness streams through this, reflects through this, and gets the sense of I am a particular entity. I am the Jivatman, which means I am the individual entity, the individual human being. This is how we get a sense of identity with this body-mind complex. Because the light of pure consciousness is streaming or reflected through the mind, as it were. So mind interprets reality for us. Right? Mind is a supreme interpreter of life's experiences, of reality for you. So if this mind is not muddled, I mean, if it is muddled, if it is not trained, then what will it do? It will give you a wrong picture of yourself and consequently a wrong picture of the world around you. So when I don't have any form of training here, then whatever the content is, it gets superimposed on my image of myself and the perception of the beings around me also. If you're angry, everyone around you will appear to be, well, no good, isn't it? Everybody's wrong. Everybody's stupid. I am right because my mind is stupid. So you see, mind interprets reality for us. Even our sense of what is called by Jiva, what is meant is an individual identity, an individual human being. It is coming through the interpretation of the mind. You are essentially, the Jiva is nothing but Shiva. But this interpreter, this lens is in the middle. And it is giving you this sense of being a limited entity, a limited body-mind complex, and a limited identity, which we strongly cling to. And I think I'm only so and so. I'm not able to transcend this level. So you see, if this is not corrected, you are always going to live in a kind of delusion. We all suffer from this. We all suffer from this. That's why mind training, mind management is so important. Bringing clarity here to the ahankar, to the manas, to the buddhi, to the chittam. Unless this is refined, I will not get a true picture of myself. Please go to the next slide. You see, these are the states of mind you are capable of. Now, this is a very important slide, again drawn straight from the Patanjali Yoga Sutras. There's a theory there called Chitta Bhumi theory, which means the states of mind you are capable of. And what will give you self-realization and what will delude you. Very clearly, Patanjali has pointed out, there are 5 states of mind. I don't know where this E came from. Again, it's a, it has a mind of its own, as you know. So, right. It has changed a few things. That's okay, as long as it doesn't tamper with this content. So, the first state of mind is Mudha, which is the dull, indolent state. Sunday mornings state. So we are quite well acquainted with Mudha and Kshipta states. Kshipta is the distracted and restless state. These two are pretty common. This is Mudha is actually the tamasic state. Tamas, indolence and laziness, and you don't want to do anything. The mind does not budge even. That kind of state. Kshipta is the over restless and distracted state. And Vikshipta is the scattered state, but occasionally preoccupied. So this is the state of thinkers and intellectuals and philosophers and scientists, the Vikshipta state. So gradually the scattering effect is reducing. You're collecting your mind. Then you have the Ekagra state. This is the concentrated state, what is called the flow state today. In modern psychology, flow means that state where you are deeply concentrated without effort. So that time passes and you don't realize it. You're absorbed. So that is the Ekagra state. It's called Ekagra in Patanjali Yoga Sutras and flow in modern psychology. Time just passes by, you never realize you were so concentrated and collected. And it gives a lot of happiness after the event. Then there is the Niruddha state. This is the state of the yogi, where the mind is completely mastered and restrained. You have transcended, as it were, the normal thought process. Fully aware, but without a thought process. That is the Niruddha state. I repeat, fully aware, but without a thought process. The last 2 states are self-directed and self-sustained because they are the states where awareness is blossoming forth now. And we must learn to make the last 2 states natural. Usually, our default states are these 2, Kshipta and Vikshipta. We must learn to make these 2 our default states. This is called yoga. If there is sufficient yoga, Vedanta will be pretty obvious. This is the connection between the 2 practically. Don't take purely the philosophical angle. In practical life, If you have learned to concentrate mind and purify mind, the most obvious truths of existence will come naturally to you. That is Vedanta. Existential inquiry, the unfoldment of pure consciousness will become natural. It's bound to happen if there is sufficient yoga. If there is absolutely no yoga, no control over the mind, do you think a little intellectual circus will get you the experience of Vedanta? Tell me. That is why the importance of this. This is the connection between yoga and Vedanta. You see, learning to make these two states natural means what? Remaining in flow, higher studies, higher concentration. If you have talents in which you get absorbed, like music, dance, people use so many things actually. Use any of them in such a way that flow is generated. Naturally, you will transcend the normally functioning mind. Naturally, it will happen. So you must find your flow. See what is it that engages your mind deeply. If you say, Mataji, it is only movies which engage my mind deeply, then at least make it positive, something good content which will clean up the mind rather than further derange it. Make it something which will be really, really worthwhile, useful to you in this life, the spiritual life. So some way of deeply engaging mind, deep engagement in scriptures or deep research into self-knowledge. It can even be mathematics. It can even be physics. It can be any subject where you're deeply engaged so that time just flows by, you don't realize it. This is a huge purifier for the mind. For the moment you have transcended the normal functioning of the mind. So anything can be used that way, I'm telling you. Any valuable activity of the mind, you use it to transcend the mind itself. So flow, and then you see if it transcends the normal functioning mind, which means these kshipta states, mudha state, it should transcend those states. Then you automatically enter the nirodha state. So these are our possibilities. This is what I'm saying. We can stay in any of these states. Any of these states. And these tamasic states, very low vitality will be there. The more concentrated you become, the higher your vitality increases. Awareness is the complete blossoming forth of vitality. Please remember this. These are all the great equations of human existence. Yes, we will go into Q&A, but after 4. Half an hour after every session, we will have Q&A on this. See, I'm giving you some of the very fundamental equations of human existence. If you peak your vitality, you will unfold awareness, higher awareness. Vitality can only be peaked if your thought process is under control. Yes, you can find out for yourself. You're thinking right, positive thoughts, you feel vitally alive. When you're vitally alive, you will become deeply aware. Think and see if this is true or not. Right now, you can feel it. But if my thought process is muddled and all kinds of negative thoughts, my vitality will be low. Obviously, there won't be awareness. So this is how the human mechanism functions. That is why the importance of taking our mind into our hands. See, if Prakriti is brought under our control, Purusha will manifest by himself automatically. That is why I take charge of this. Mind management is not just to get success in our outer endeavors. It is to get success in our inner life. See, if I'm happy by myself, bubbling with joy by myself, deeply aware and contented within myself, and radiant with vitality, happy by myself all the time, isn't it a great way to live? Huh? And if I require some gadget to keep me engaged, otherwise I'll go crazy, isn't that a very poor state of mind? Tell me. So see what we are reducing ourselves to. Check it out and see. It is possible to remain vibrantly, vitally alive just by controlling the thought process. And that itself contributes to the unfoldment of awareness. Yoga will bring about Vedanta automatically. Please know this. But if I don't work on this instrumentation, and I think an intellectual process will get me there. So even if it gives you some glimpse, it won't keep you there. It will drag you back. So this training is important. Without mind management, cleansing, purifying the mind, without the right conditioning for the mind, positive thinking, it is not possible to transcend mind and get self-knowledge. That is why then the importance of the first and foremost in our everyday lives, thoda sa yog lana hai. Bring a certain practice into your life, a small practice, 10-minute, 15-minute practice. How to still the mind. Many of you are, I think, initiated. You can use your japa mantra like that. Try some meditation technique, good reading habits, good exposures. Today you have so many YouTube videos with very important information, exposures to these kinds of things. Some small ritual at home. Ritual is a way of conditioning the mind in proper sentiments, in good sentiments. So some kind of a ritual at home, some aarti you did, some bhajan you sang, something which would turn the mind inward, make it concentrated, devoted, clean it up, keep positive energy. You see how good you will feel, vitally alive, as I said. Begin the day like that. See, spirituality is very simple. The morning 1 hour, first hour of your morning, whenever you get up, you have to give to some spiritual practice or yoga or good studies, studying the scriptures, something spiritual. Application of mind is tapasya. You must apply the mind to something spiritual. And you see, whole day that will go on. Again, before you retire at night, last half an hour before you retire should be applied in either reading Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna or Bhagavad Gita or something spiritual. This much, you see, you must do for mind management. And dawn and dusk are very, very efficacious periods for meditation. Try it out and see, nature becomes very calm. There's a vibrancy, there's silence. These periods, you can easily still the mind. Once we learn to still the mind and remain aware in that stillness, watching the stillness of your mind, you'll see how much joy comes from within. This is the joy of your awareness. Awareness is joy. Yes, our real nature is joy. And our nonsense is our making, mental nonsense. So we go back into our real nature when you do meditation. If these small, small steps are followed, then mind management becomes perfectly possible in our everyday lives. Otherwise, we know a lot of theory, but when it comes to managing mind, we will become ineffective. So follow these small, small steps, and we will continue with this information after tea. But now I will open up the forum for Q&A for half an hour. Yes.
My question is on the Antharkarana.
Yes.
Starting from this, on this slide, when I see the state of mind, you suggest we start focusing to state, take our, basically get into Ekagra or Niruddha to progress towards that. But when I look at Antharkarana, those 4 things.
Yes. Can you put that previous slide?
So, is there a hierarchy there? Is there something we need to achieve, or all of them coexist at all times? So, now the next
go down. Next. This one.
So, how
make sense of this?
Make sense of this. How do I use it in my life? Is there something to achieve, or it's just to be aware?
Right. So, see, at any given moment, you are functioning either as ahankar, manas, buddhi, or chitta. At any given moment, if you check your thought process, it's either about the I, or it is about your manas, you're cogitating on something, or you're determining something in your mind, or you are replaying your memories. One of these will be active at any given point of time. So, what this slide is actually telling you is, you are none of these, you are this, but because the light of awareness reflects through this, you appear to be this. And you don't think you are this. In everyday life, we think we are jivas, we are a body-mind complex. And Atman is some kind of a theory. Oh, Vedantists are saying it, so it must be true, but I don't know, it's not in my experience. We think all this. Actually, it is more than it is in your experience, because unless you are a self-aware entity, you wouldn't even be trying to do mind management, you know. Awareness is your fundamental nature. Mind is your making. So reversing this is the whole thing, you know. In Vedanta, what they will tell you is, this thing is like a lens placed between Shiva and Jiva. You are this. You clean up this, automatically this light alone will stream into this. You will know your real nature. But otherwise, the mind will keep interpreting your identities in various ways. See, you play so many roles at home, isn't it? Here, well, you are a student of Vedanta. At home, in your workplace, you are the boss. You have a number of employees working under you. At home, somebody else is the boss, and you are probably working for her. So, and with your children, today they may listen to you, but after 12, nobody is going to listen to you. So whatever it is, whatever role you play, all of them, you see, it's happening through this lens of your mind. Only mind is interpreting all those roles, all those identities. Your real unchanging nature is always the self. Understanding this, I must know how to handle this so that the entire stream of awareness is what I get, even through the mind. Otherwise, mind will keep interpreting things differently for me. See, in any situation, say in your workplace, any situation, each of the employees interprets it differently, isn't it? Depending on what is dominant in his mind. That's why there are conflicts, there are differences of opinion, because each one interprets differently, depending on the content of his mind. So that is why we should understand this. When our own identity is at risk, it is interpreted through this lens, what to speak of the external world. That's why this slide has been given, to understand that you are not what you think you are. Yes?
How these four components relate to the 5 states?
Yes, they relate, because see, each state of mind pertains to how you have in these components. In the Mudha and Kshipta states, these are totally untrained. The Ahankar is rigid. The Manas, it's overflowing. The Buddhi is unclear, muddled. And the Chittam, that is also overflowing in such a way, it keeps impinging into your conscious mind. So the Mudha and Kshipta states are states where you're so tired of your mind and your unstopping thoughts that you just fall asleep. You're over restless, you know. And so you don't want to do anything with your mind. You just, see, when people plan costly getaways, you plan costly getaways, expensive getaways. You are actually, what are you planning? You know, you're trying to get out of this. We're carrying too much memory baggage and too much negativity, so I want to go somewhere. But wherever you go, you take your mind with you. So I really don't know why we do this, but we always do this. Whenever I want to get out of the mind, you see, usually I'm planning some place to go, to put the body in some place. Actually speaking, if we can empty mind, you really don't have to go anywhere. Where you are is Vaikuntha. That is why all these yogic practices, Vedanta, Zen, Buddhism, any practice which tells you how to empty mind, clear mind, that becomes very important in life. Yes. 1 minute behind you. After him. Please go to the iceberg slide.
There was a conscious and subconscious.
Yes.
The modern science also talks about the supraconscious.
Yes.
Or the
superconscious, yeah.
And the cosmic consciousness.
Yes,
so,
yes.
In terms of the yoga or
yes.
Yoga, how do we go with it?
Yes. See, now he's asking about the superconscious state and the supraconscious and cosmic consciousness. Where does it fit into all this? See, this paradigm. So this paradigm has been drawn from Freud's works. This one, the conscious, subconscious, and unconscious portion. Now, when we are talking of superconsciousness or supra-consciousness body. You will find it in Aurobindo's literature. You will find it in Vivekananda's Raj Yoga. You will also find it in Patanjali Yoga and Vedanta. They are talking of the state far beyond conscious mind, far beyond. It is only by making the unconscious content conscious, unconscious and the middle subconscious content completely conscious, that you can next go into the superconscious state. Yoga is about this, please understand. The unconscious workings of the mind have to be brought into a stop and have to be pulled up to the conscious plane. Otherwise, what will happen? All your energy, is being carried away by the unconscious. Unconsciously, subconsciously, I'm thinking of so many things. Consciously, I'm trying to pay attention to something. All my energy is taken away there. This can happen. That is why there should be systematic spiritual practice, systematic concentration techniques, focus. See, in the Indian spiritual heritage, there is something called Dinacharya and Ritucharya. You have heard of these words? Every day, how you should lead your life. Lead a dharmic life. Satyam vada, dharmam chara. Do your duties, do your responsibilities. Keep your mind on God. Simple things are given. And in specific times, you have to do certain specific kriyas. Like in the transition from summer to spring, winter to spring, you have to do certain disciplines. From spring into summer, you have to do certain disciplines. So by all this, what you do is you are training your mind. You're training your mind. Gradually, that the content of the unconscious will become subconscious. Finally, it will go to the conscious plane. This will happen. And super consciousness goes way beyond even the conscious plane. Through the practice of yoga, when you are able to transcend even the conscious thought process, conscious mind, you will go into it's a state of ultra awareness. Your own awareness has got so augmented that's when it's called super consciousness. Your own awareness, please note this, has got so augmented, became so augmented that it transcended even the conscious plane. Now you're more aware than identified with anything. So in a way, you have transcended the conscious state of mind also. That's when you call it the super conscious. See, you can read Vivekananda's Raj Yoga. There he gives all information on super consciousness. There is a state of mind which goes way beyond the conscious. When awareness comes to the forefront, the state of samadhi is like that. Awareness has come to the forefront. Thoughts have receded because they have lost you have lost your enthusiasm for this kind of thinking. That's what happens. Then only awareness reigns. That is the superconscious state. In fact, that is not even a state. That is the truth of your being. That is existence, consciousness, and bliss. See, self, it is again a name. Atman, Brahman, whatever you call it, it's a name. It's only a name. It is actually your being. And the masters who attain that state, the name becomes tertiary, not even of secondary importance. But what they are feeling within themselves, it's a first-person experience. Raman Maharshi used to say, I didn't even know the words Atman and Brahman. But when it was read out before me from the scriptures, I understood they were describing my own state. This is the first-person experience I'm talking about. That is super consciousness. Yes, now you can.
I'm wondering whether, the process of creativity, for example, because a creative process is such that it creates something out of nothing, for example.
Right.
So, do we have to tap into the pure consciousness in order to express creativity?
Beautiful question. See, so how does creativity function? See, you must understand this. Creativity does not rise from the conscious plane. It rises far beyond the conscious plane. So if you want to creatively develop your mind, you must tap into that level. And usually it happens by putting even the conscious mind aside and cleaning up the subconscious and unconscious. Then you become really spiritual creativity comes into predominance in your mind. You know, Rabindranath Tagore was such a great poet. Many of his masterpieces came from that level. Once he loved nature. This is a real life incident, I'm telling you, from his life. So he was a lover of nature, and many times he would go in those small boats on the rivers, you know, Ganga and Yamuna. He would take a small boat and he would spend 3 days on that boat. And he would go along the river. So once when he was doing that, see, what happened was he wanted to pen down something. So he went under the hood of the boat to pen it down. And then suddenly his mind revolted. And then he comes out of that hood and sees that it is dusk. The sun is just setting. And after another half an hour, 45 minutes, the whole, like, it became dark, very beautiful colors in the sky. After another half an hour, the stars came out, the star-spangled sky, and that deep inner stillness. And his own mind was so still. And now poetry started flowing like anything. And you know what he did? He lit a lamp. He lit a candle, went back into the hood, and he says, I didn't even write, but the lines just came out of my hand. And my mind was overflowing with bliss. And the poetry just flowed, and just my hand became the instrument to record it. And it all became possible because I stopped the conscious mind and just went into the glory of nature. See, this is a possibility. Our own mind has very high dimensions of thought. For that, you must stop the normal compulsive ways of thinking. This silly conditioned conscious mind, if you drop that, you can enter the creative realm spontaneously. But for that, you require training. Anything which happens by chance, will also go by chance. But if you are well trained in yoga, that's why I say, if you're well trained to drop mind whenever required, you are now the home of tremendous creativity. In fact, even the greatest scientific achievements have come through the creativity of the human mind. Isn't it? You read the life of Albert Einstein himself. He was completely attuned to the higher consciousness. And the greatest scientists have shown this. Even the discovery of Kekule's benzene ring. The deepest discoveries of science have come from that dimension. Because, science is about finding the hidden links between distinct categories. It will only come when your mind transcends the conscious plane. So yoga brings about all this. You don't know, the life of the yogi is one of exuberant, overflowing joy because of these states. And the life of the bhogi is very small, wrongly conditioned. So constant suffering and then try to get out of it. You shouldn't waste life like that. Am I making sense? Yes.
Good question. That's so we had all these levels of, for example, at the end of which we had Nivedita.
Go to the last slide.
So I'm wondering, because it seems that the second glass is it has the flow state. So is this the state in which creativity can be accessed?
Yeah. In fact, it is only in flow that creativity happens. Yes. See, when Zik Mihaly was talking of flow, although he has mentioned Ekagra state of Patanjali Yoga Sutras, he was not talking of it in terms of creative output. He was just talking of it in terms of concentration, intense concentration, so that you transcend time. But actually speaking, the state of flow, to a creative mind, it is only in the state of flow that the highest creativity comes out. So it is something very similar. It's the same state. Only thing is, for the creative mind, it's the creative output that comes out. Every day, I'm telling you, you must taste something of this. Then only you will understand Patanjali well. Every day, please try to taste at least this, if not this. At least deep absorption in something intellectual, something creative, something which rivets your attention. so that you lose sense of time and you transcend the normal cogitating mind. This you must experience every day. See, this is what is called yoga. Yoga will naturally lead to Vedanta. Have you tasted this state? I'm sure you have. See, when I work with these IIT kids, no, the way they sit in the class, you can know they are in a state of flow. They never get distracted because the whole system has been equipped. That's why they are there, you know. I've seen this with my own eyes. Most of them are like that. They don't even shake or budge. Complete riveted attention. This, you see, your mind is capable of this. If you don't repeat this, don't train your mind in these states, it will keep distracting itself stupidly. There's a difference between a stupid mind and the really intelligent mind. Stupid mind means, you know, overflow of unnecessary thoughts and constant distraction. Now you require gadget to keep you, to hold a little attention. Otherwise, you're crazy by yourself. You're really crazy in those states. But in these states, you know, just the concentration releases bliss, deep inner. Once you come out of the state of flow, you are in deep satisfaction and contentment. Meditation gives you that. Meditation also is flow. So that's why I'm saying get used to this day and night. Intellectuals should live in this state, not in vikshipta. This is the purpose of science and all art. Art is layman's yoga. Science is layman's yoga. You can use your art and science to enter this. Nothing in life is bereft of yoga. You should know this. Nothing in life is bereft of divinity. We must know how to utilize the higher capacities of our mind. These are the ways. I very much like concentrated people who are in this state. Whatever you're doing, you don't have to only do meditation. Anything you are doing and flow is generated, now you are capable of Niruddha state. Yes.
Am I audible?
Yes.
So, what I've understood so far, there are 2 points, like the positive thinking and the increase in the vitality. So, it's like everything boils down to these things because the
Yes.
supernatural things, those would come to us because those are for the human things.
Come on.
I mean, I know, like consciousness, subconsciousness, we are just roaming around these
Okay.
things. Like you were saying, that we are having family, we are surrounded by so many things.
Right. Certain things. Your mind is out of certain other things. Isn't it? Like I was just swimming. Or say you're playing badminton or chess. Automatically your mind is out of all the other nonsense it does usually. This is one way. But always you will not have permission to do that. Always it is not possible that I physically put myself in a different situation so that my mind knows. What will you do in that situation then? So that is why that mind training. Mind must be able to switch over to a positive state at will. That is real intelligence. See, miracle of positive thinking, the video which I told, that's homework for all of you. Then when you go home, you're going to watch Miracle of Positive Thinking. It's a must see for everyone because now a lot of our problems are due to wrong thinking. Different, I mean, we think very differently in certain situations and it is important to correct those ways of thinking. So in that video, I have given affirmations. It means every day I reaffirm certain things to my mind. Like I said, life is working for me. Everything is working for me. I am a child of God. Divine energy is functioning in my system. Anything and everything is possible for me. I can do anything and everything. I am a spark of the divine. All my energies are in my hands. Everything is working for me. The whole world is for me. Such things you have to reaffirm in your mind again and again. Because otherwise, what the mind does, you know, oh, look what happened to me today. I'm always a loser. That person is responsible for this state of mind. I'll show him. This is how it will go. If you don't reaffirm positive things in your mind, the mind will start its own drama always. I'm telling you.
And it's always about the other. And as you keep on thinking like this, you reflect on your face. And the other person will actually behave as you are thinking he will behave. So you radiate to that energy, he responds accordingly to you. And you control his eye. To our own thought process. So that is why even if you can't physically move out of that place, your mind must radiate such a I told you, if you are joyfully alive, you will be deeply aware. Now you are radiating a positive energy which can transform that mind. Suppose if you are feeling something negative, also it will get transformed. Because I'm telling you, thought is energy. It's your vital energy. And your life does not create your thoughts. Your thoughts create your life. Very important point. Your life does not create your thoughts create your life. What you will think will become the situation around you. So take care of this. This is the most important thing, bottom line of mind management. I will think in such a way, even if there is something negative, it can happen.
Is it really practical? In evolutionary biology, we always think about.
Yes.
So there is always negativity in our.
No, see, I'll tell you, when this doesn't work, it will not work if you're doing this half-heartedly. If you think, oh, the world is crazy, I'm going to dog, but I have to practice positive thinking, then it's not going to work. I bring my own divine energy to manifestation, that energy will respond positively. That will unite with me. The whole world, it is one energy. One consciousness manifesting to different bodies and mind. So in some way, this is real Vedanta. You have to bring this into the mind picture in some way. That is through positive thinking only. That is why miracle of positive thinking is part of your. I'm telling you, there's thousands of people have written to me that it worked magic for them. So I'm saying you see that video and affirm the positive principles again and again in your mind, things will change around. I think we'll wind up here.
Yeah, just before you wind up this session, Mataji, there's one question from the online audience participants, and perhaps that's a summary again asked. Could you kindly state again the 7 postulates of the mind? Or it should be probably mind management.
Okay, I think he noted them down. Come on, read them one by one in the same order.
So, cool. The first one is I am not mind. Second one is there is no continuity of thoughts. As per thoughts, the mind changes. Mind is a flux. Third one is only awareness is the continuum who watches the changes. Fourth one is I can decide the context of my thoughts. Subconscious mind stores it. The fifth one is senses intake and refining our memories. You have to refine our memories. And sixth one is what you think. What you think becomes your reality. And the seventh one is the more deeply the conscious you are, better you can do the management.
Correct. Good. So how we are going to change our memories? Now you may say, Mataji, but we have so much of all the kinds of negative, wrong memory. How do I change it? We'll have to wait for the next session.